Greetings all! Today, we'll be examining the uncommon ground flying type Pokemon Gligar, the Fly Scorpion Pokémon, and its rare evolution Gliscor, the Fang Scorpion Pokémon. While they might come off as a bit weird in appearance, and certainly not among the most conventional of Pokemon, the members of the Gligar family are potent creatures that can make good use of their anatomy to take down opponents and prey alike with brutality and finesse.
Gligar have rounded, bright purple bodies with a pair of horn-like ears on their head, pinprick black eyes, and a pair of large white fangs that protrude from their upper jaw, their pink tongue also hanging out of their mouth on a frequent basis. They possess a pair of large front pincers and two one-clawed feet, a semi-long segmented tail that ends in a large bulbous stinger, and two blue wing flaps with a purple spine on the outer edges of both sides, the membranes being used by them to glide through the air. The evolved form Gliscor have lavender-colored bodies with the same general form as Gligar, though their front pincers have grown noticeably in size, as have their wing flaps, which now join together on their back instead of their torso. They also now have two toes on each foot, as well as two barbs at the end of their stinger, a red waist and thin segmented arms, large web-red interiors to their ears, an armored upper chest with true protruding spines, a much wider mouth with multiple sharp teeth in their upper jaw, furrows on their forehead, and large eyes with both yellow irises and sclera.
The members of the Gligar family are closely related to scorpions despite their abnormal shapes, and are likely the only example of a scorpion obtaining in any form the benefits of flight, though for Gligar at least, these powers are still quite limited.
Although Gligar and Gliscor would normally be assigned as bug types, and in fact can only breed with creatures in the bug egg group, the unique properties of their exoskeleton allow them to resist the effects of electricity, in turn making them some of the few ground flying type Pokemon known to exist. As with most scorpions, these creatures rely on their front claws and barb-tipped tail to attack opponents in battle, striking with powerful physical attacks before retreating in defense. While the overall offensive strength of these creatures might not be high enough to make them a serious threat to some, the surprisingly sturdy nature of the exoskeleton does make them somewhat difficult to take down with physical attacks alone, though their special defense isn't quite as useful. If needed, both creatures can emit an ultrasonic blast of sound in order to escape potential predators, but considering that they tend to rely on hit-and-run tactics most of the time anyways, this rarely ever proves to be a needed tool outside of battle.
Normally, Gligar are unable to evolve as a result of a recent genetic mutation, and remain much as they are from the moment they are born. But, if they grow an experience level at night while holding a Razor Fang, which are preserved fangs of Gliscor from ancient times, Gligar can mentally get in touch with their evolutionary past, triggering a very sudden and unique mutation that causes them to instantly evolve into Gliscor.
This sudden change noticeably increases the overall stats in biology, but more importantly, it partially changes the types of moves they can learn, with Gliscor getting access to the powerful Poison Jab and Night Slash attacks, as well as the Fire Fang, Ice Fang, and Thunder Fang attacks with a bit of artificial help, all of which greatly increase the types of opponents they can easily handle. This extends even further to the possible abilities, as while the exoskeleton allows them to blend in readily in sandstorms, and can self-sharpen to keep their attack power at peak performance, the two having access in turn to Sand Veil and Hyper Cutter as base abilities, Gligar with extremely powerful immune systems to them can also have immunity as a hidden ability, while their evolved form in the same instance have antibodies that can actually process toxins and break them down for energy, having Toxic Heal as a hidden ability instead. As far as the stats are concerned, in the case of Gliscor, their special attributes are not all that great, and their stamina is a bit lacking, so the base HP, special attack, and special defense stats are all below average for a fully evolved ground and flying type Pokemon. However, they do at least have decent physical offensive power, and are able to take physical blows really well while still being quite mobile, so the base attack stat is above average for a fully evolved flying type Pokemon, and the base defense and speed stats are above average for a fully evolved Pokemon of both of their types, making them a notable force to contend with in close quarters. While Gligar do possess pieces of stretched membrane connecting their front limbs to their back limbs, they are far too heavy to actually maintain sustained flight, and instead prefer to glide from point to point in order to get around. Gligar will usually cling to the face of a cliff and wait for the telltale sign of footsteps below them before moving. Once they detect a possible prey item, Gligar swoop down on air currents and ride them silently down to their target, where they quickly scream just before impacting in order to ensure that the target is facing them. After this, Gligar will land directly onto the target's face and clamp down hard with their front pinchers before striking with their venomous stingers and injecting a potent toxin. From here, Gligar remain attached as firmly as they can while the venom quickly kills their prey before feasting on the corpse in delight. Unfortunately, since Gligar cannot actually fly, they must hop up to their resting place again before preparing for another strike, in turn placing them in considerable danger of being killed by ground predators.
This is also the only time a trainer will ever be able to effectively capture one of these creatures, as the range of motion and overall combat abilities are severely limited while they're on the ground.
While the exoskeletons of Gliscor might be thicker and stronger than those of Gligar, they're also actually much less dense, and enable Gliscor to maintain almost complete flight. The only catch is that they are unable to simply take off from the ground like other flying-type Pokémon, and therefore must still glide to move around. Because of the lighter frames and efficient wing design, however, if a Gliscor manages to catch even a light breeze while gliding, it can easily ride that breeze all around the entire planet without ever having to land. Moreover, this exceptional flight ability makes it much easier for Gliscor to move around in the air, as they can ride air currents to both travel up and down in the air instead of merely gliding downward. In the wild, Gliscor uses to their advantage by waiting in the shadows for unsuspecting prey to walk near them before silently swooping down, clamping onto their bodies, and hoisting them back up into their nests. Once back at the nest, Gliscor will not wait for the prey to make a move, and will instead use their long, sturdy fangs to inflict a critical hit strong enough to puncture their jugular and finish the job immediately, allowing them to feast in peace. While this has on occasion led to the untimely deaths of a few unsuspecting travelers, Gliscor do not have to hunt much to maintain their health and are rarely ever seen much to begin with, so their ferocious natures will rarely ever be an issue outside of an actual battle.
These potent scorpions are certainly more than capable of getting the drop on any opponent they are faced with, though I will also readily admit that they can be a bit on the scary side at times as well. Their unique type combination does give them a nifty edge over any electric-type Pokémon that thinks they can zap them out of the sky, but that on its own is only part of what can make them such a pain to deal with. They are also quite crafty, a lot more so than some might think otherwise, and can use their environment to climb up surfaces and attack from unique angles that can make them hard to predict and handle, and that goes for both the wild and professional fights. Their sturdy bodies also make them surprisingly hard to damage with physical attacks, and in turn renders them surprisingly resilient, though they are still weak to special attacks to a degree. They also tend to be easy to take care of and train, as they're actually a lot smarter than some might give them credit as being. As a whole, as long as you can keep them away from extreme cold, there isn't much that these beasts can't handle, and in turn can be seen as reliable fighters to work with, especially if one can make good use of an item like a toxic orb and their rare hidden ability to make them even more of a nuisance to opponents.
Strange or terrifying as they may look, the members of the Gligar family are still fun creatures to work with if you can make the most of their powerful stingers and potent pinchers. You might have to go way out of your way to get a Razor Fang to allow them to reach their maximum potential, but the final result can be more than worth it if you need a beast that can bring both agility and resilience to the air in an arena.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure that you feed them on a regular basis, and don't let them get too hungry. They might be easy to train, but if they're in need of sustenance and nothing else is around, you yourself may be likely to end up on the menu with a quick face grab and abrupt stab.
Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Utitus, and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.